Hi, it's Peter here from Romford Film Festival. I'm here with Caio Cortonesi, who is the writer and director of Asra. Caio, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
How are you today?
Great. Really happy, really excited to be here. For the first time entering a movie theatre in 1.5 years, so it has been even a bit emotional too.
Yeah, definitely. So your film's going to play in around a couple of hours here. So is it the first time you've seen it on the big screen?
Oh no, so I've seen it many times, but I'm excited to see it again after such a long time.
Yeah, great. So tell us a bit about the plot line of Asra. What's the story?
Well, the story was inspired by an article I read about euthanasia. I was working in this feature film that I tried to shoot back in 2017, and I couldn't get the money to do it. But that was back in Brazil, where I'm from. And I had those characters in my mind, like characters of a feature. And then I read this article about euthanasia, about real stories that of medical professionals who work with euthanasia. I think it was like in Switzerland, I'm not sure. And like some really touching stories of the kind of desires that people, when they choose to end their lives, frequently they don't want even to be surrounded by their families. Sometimes they prefer to be to fulfill a fantasy, or to be someone they always wanted to be. And I felt that to be very powerful. So I wrote this film, which is a backstory of some of the characters of the feature, which revolves around that concept of this old man who's very ill, who's the father of this guy, of one of the characters of the feature, who wants to get to end his own life. But in Brazil, euthanasia is illegal. It is a serious crime, and so then I came up with and there's this doctor who is a professional in doing secret euthanasia, so to speak, illegal ones. And his son finds this woman to take care of that, but exactly how he wants to leave this world, that's the let's say the crux of the story.
That's the tension in the story.
Yes.
Yeah. How long did it take you to write the script?
The script was like a couple of weeks. I had the characters, and I had like the cast of the feature.
Okay.
So and this story takes place a few years before like the feature that I plan to shoot one day, hopefully here in the UK. And so the characters were pretty much like fleshed out, and it was like a very real world that existed. So it was pretty quick to write.
The characters especially are really excellent. The performance is very strong. Can you tell us about the casting of the film? How did you cast the film?
I think I'm glad you watched it. It is there is a character, Juliana Drummond, who plays the psychologist. She is actually the lead character of the feature, and in the short she ends up making a little secondary role. And the other two actors, Humberto Pedrancini, who is a legendary actor in Brazil. He is an amazingly experienced. Has been he's a very important figure in Brazilian theater.
Okay.
I talked to him about playing the main character Ayman, and he was and he said yes. So it was a massive honor to work with him. And Deborah Aquino, who was actually she was his student.
Okay.
Deborah, she plays the doctor, and she was his student decades ago. And I casted her, and I wasn't aware of that. So when they met, when we were like working it, and she's like, you got my master in your film.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that must have helped. They already knew each other, because they are the pivot of the film. The two of them, I think, they're the most important two characters. I think.
Absolutely, there are like some beautiful. There is one specific beautiful moment in the film that was very spontaneous, which this connection between them. So it was the very end of the film, which I won't talk much about it, but it was a very interesting dynamic having two of them, those two great actors who knew each other for such a long time working together was very interesting.
Okay, so another striking thing about the film is the cinematography, which is in really, really stunning black and white or monochrome. You have to excuse my ignorance what the difference is. What made you decide to shoot it like that rather than in colour? I think personally you definitely did the right thing. It looks amazing. So why did you choose that?
Awesome, thank you. Because the feature is supposed to be shot in black and white, so I wrote the feature thinking about shooting in black and white, largely due to technical constraints. Because shooting in black and white is actually easier. At least I find it to be much easier.
Okay.
And it's something that I really enjoy doing. So it really helps you keeping the costs under control. So and then since it was like a short film that exists in the same universe as the feature,
right.
I thought I had to do it in black and white.
Okay. Where did you shoot the film, and how long was the shoot? How long did it take?
The shoot was 2.5 days,
Okay.
over a weekend plus some extras. It was in Brasília, which is where I'm actually from Brazil, the capital of Brazil. And it was actually very because I did that film almost out of frustration because I couldn't do the feature,
right.
and in the time that I had proposed myself to do it, because it was a bit of a challenge. I wanted to try to make a feature in from starting to write and to finish the actual film in 1 year.
Okay.
So because I couldn't do that because of money, I just did Asra. So it was actually very quick. I wrote it and I got everything casted. Like the entire process was probably 2 or 3 months. It was pretty quick.
Okay. It's all about challenges. Did you find any challenges on set, apart from raising money, obviously, but any actual challenges with the shoot?
The nature of the film is it's a very intimate film, so it's very comfortable. It was actually quite easy to do. My previous short film was a sci-fi.
Okay.
It's on a CG, so it had I worked with a green screen and the whole like that. And compared to that, it was a breeze. Really, it was very easy.
Okay, so what's your background in film? How many films have you made? What made you want to become a filmmaker in the first place?
Well, working with film has been my childhood dream. So has always been my childhood dream. But I ended up becoming a musician first. Okay. By accident, life just takes you to crazy directions. And but then working as a musician, being a music producer, so I produced a ton of records. I wanted to transition, being working as a record producer. I wanted to transition into film. So roughly 10 years ago, I started to shoot music videos. Okay. So I did a number of music videos. I shot probably almost 100 or so, more than 100. Right. And while at the same time also working for TV, with advertising, editing. So always with the plan of eventually doing actual author cinema. And so my first film I shot in 2014, and real film, considering my music videos and commercial stuff, it was I've done many things before that, but and I shot so far. I've done 3, 4-ish short films. I have a number of feature scripts that I plan to make one day, and that's the reason why I also moved country. I left Brazil also, because of the film industry there not being very favorable, right. Especially with the political situation there. Okay. So that's why I came to the UK. Right. So that's your aim. Is your aim your next film? Do you want to make the feature length of Asra, or have you got something else? Yes. In mind? Yes. Because I have a few feature projects, but there's I also have a couple of shorts that I'll be working soon. Actually, I was supposed to have finished them, but because of the pandemic, so everything had to pause for a while. So now I can't wait to get back, to working on the shorts, and hopefully to get the features out, to make the features happen. When you were making Asra, was there any films that you had in mind that were influences, or do you not sort of look at it that way? Do you try and make your own film? Yeah, usually I don't consciously work with specific references. Also because considering the story of Asra, and that it is a short film, and so it is like it is very much about that story, and it's a story that it is quite complicated. Even for features, it's a bit of a complex story with that touches upon really difficult subjects. I didn't have any specific points of reference, but of course, I have my big favorite filmmakers that I always go back to whenever I feel the need to have a point of reference in terms of ideas, and just because I just love their work. But sometimes it's completely different, like action movies. Asra is a drama, or comedies. But just because there are some visual cues or some characters that I find to be instructive for the film.
What were some of those filmmakers that you admire?
I have a ginormous list, but for Asra, and it is interesting because, for example, one of my favorite filmmakers is Alfonso Cuarón, who's a Mexican director, and I shot Asra 1-2 years before he did Roma.
Okay. Yeah.
And his previous films were, I did Gravity, lots of action films and stuff like that.
Harry Potter film.
And his work has always been immensely inspiring for me. And then I did Asra, with using some of his some of his influences. And then 2 years later he made Roma, and then lots of people started comparing Asra with Roma, which so it was almost like a certain a connection with what I was doing and what he was doing and how I did it.
Great. Well, I hope you get to make the featured version. I'd definitely like to see it personally, and wish you all the best in the future.